We can find the volume of a rectangular prism knowing how many cubes fit into the prism and the volume of each cube. If we multiply the number of cubes that fit into the prism by the volume of each cube, then that gives me the volume of the total prism. So here we have 100 cubes. How do we find the volume of a cube? Knowing that there's an edge length of 1/2, and we know that we find volume by multiplying length times width times height. The only difference here is if it's a cube, the length, the width, and the height, the length is equal to the width, and that's equal to the height, right? All of these equal 1/2. So we would multiply 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. This is cubing something because you are cubing 1/2, which means you are multiplying it by itself 3 times. That's where we hear that word cubed, and we use an exponent of 3 when we see exponents later. So 1/2 cubed is the same thing as 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/8, because 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 2 is 8. So 1/8 is the volume of each cube times 100 cubes. Well, that's 100 1/8 cubes, or we could think about putting this in a mixed number form. 8 goes into 100 12 times with 4 left over, because 8 times 12 is 96, and 100 minus 96 is 4 out of 8. So if we thought about a mixed number, we can now see that there are 12 out of 8, 12 over 8, 96 over 8, which is equal to 12. There are 12 wholes. So that represents 12 unit cubes, 12 whole unit cubes. And then we have 4 smaller cubes that each have a volume of 1/8. 4 cubes with a volume of 1/8, and then 12 unit cubes, since we got this whole number of 12. 96 over 8 is 12. So that's, I'm able to pull out 12 whole cubes with a unit by unit by unit dimension, but I'm left with 4 smaller cubes with a volume of 1/8 each. So if we have a rectangular prism that is completely packed with 350 cubes of edge length 1/4 inch without any gap or overlap, what is the volume of the rectangular prism? Well, first thing I want to know, what is the volume of each cube? Volume of the smaller cube. How do I find the volume of a cube? What do I get when I find the volume of this cube? I'm going to take the edge length 1/4. I'm going to cube it, which means multiply 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4 to get 1/64. So the volume of each cube is 1/64, and there are 350 of them. So 350 times 1/64 would give me the volume of the total prism, which is 350 1/64 cubes, or we can set that up as a mixed number. How many times does 64 divide into 350? (64) times 5 is 320. So 5 times. So that tells me there are 5 unit cubes because I have a whole number of 5, so that's a whole unit cube. 5 times 64 is 320, so how many is left over? From 350, there are 30 left over. So we have 30 of these smaller cubes that have a 1/64th volume. So 5 whole unit cubes and 30 smaller cubes with a volume of 1/64th cubic inch each.